Howdy, my name is Emily Reeves. I'm a part of Group 4. Our name is CTC, and we got assigned Chapter 8, which is all about change. We talked about it in class last week, and there's just so many different aspects to change, and this is what that video will be addressing.
Today, our topic of discussion will be about change. As time goes on, us as individuals will change, grow, and adapt to the things around us. This will happen in our own personal lives, workplace, and relationships. When we are in a position where we are confronted with new and emerging changes, there are two processes that will have an impact, which include the rational and emotional approach or view. First off, when looking at the rational aspect of it, being rational in this situation is done by reflecting on the current state that things are in and understanding that there is a need for change and diving into the steps that are needed to implement the change. Ultimately, change is needed for success. It was noted in the rating that change is essential to success. Second, the emotional approach is essential to one on a personal level. This raises the question, how does this affect me? Although change can bring growth, it can affect one's emotions by causing confusion, feelings of being threatened, and nonetheless can bring us fear of what is to come due to change. Overall, both components, rational and emotional, are essential to create change successfully.
How do you do there? My name is Joseph Michael Derone, and I'm here to speak on the logic of resistance. Logic of resistance. Now, it is natural human tendency for people to resist change. Change is never easy, but it's very hard. Now, I'm sure y'all remember growing up, nobody liked to change houses, change schools, change beds, change clothes for that matter, but we all had to do it at some point. It is a healthy response to feel a sense of confusion, disruption, and or fear, if not all three. Fear is the most common response in these scenarios. Of course, I was fearful of changing clothes, not very much, but fearful of changing schools, very much. Didn't like it. Change, poopy. Now, some signs of resistance are sarcastic remarks, criticism, nitpicking, and even sabotage, believe it or not. When dealing with someone who is being resistant, it is always a good idea to be sympathetic towards them. You don't want to lash out at them, make them upset. When they're nitpicking at you, don't snap back at them. Give them a little bit of that patience that Jesus spoke about in the Bible. Give them some slack, because they're going through some change and they're resisting it. Best way to counteract that resistance is with kindness from the heart. Take it away.
I'm Jackson Oxney, and I'm going to be talking about disruption and stress and how it pertains and relates to change. So change, it's a constant in our lives, but when that change disrupts our routines, our roles, and our sense of stability, it can feel really overwhelming. Recipients of change are affected deeply on two levels, on a personal level and on an emotional level. Disruptive change creates ambiguity and uncertainty, which can lead to stress. So how do we handle this stress when we're faced with change? We ask ourselves some questions. Can we handle it? Will we succeed in this new role? Will we lose status, power, or will this change affect any relationships that we have?
Expressing the need for change is arguably the most critical step in the process of change. It is also the step that is most often diminished or minimized. Emerging leaders are responsible for articulating and explaining the need for change in clear, direct, relevant, and meaningful terms to their people. Helping people understand the reason for change and why you cannot just return to status quo is a crucial step. Emerging leaders should not just suggest that the changes will be void of stress and disruption, but rather they should affirm why these changes are necessary and important. They should do this by appealing to the rational side of the followers.
Change is hard, and it can often be uncomfortable. So it is the job of the leader of a group to minimize that discomfort and make change as efficient and comfortable as possible. One way the leader can do this is by communicating carefully exactly what will be changing and why. That why is very important. On the other end of that, the leader also must communicate what won't be changing. That does a lot of good minimizing the discomfort and anxiety that followers experience during change. Also, the leader must minimize something called learning anxiety, which is the feeling that if you learn something new, you may no longer fit in with the group you are currently fitting in with. Reassurance from the leader often helps with that. The final thing is that the reward system implemented by the leader must be aligned with the change that's occurring.
To successfully guide your followers through change, communication is key. A team leader's communication must be clear, consistent, and concise. A common pitfall for leaders during change is under-communicating with their followers. Remember, as the leader, you may be very well familiar with the change that is occurring, but your followers are learning about it for the first time. A leader should maintain ongoing communication with their followers. This communication will serve three main functions, including clarifying information, soliciting input, and providing feedback. Regular check-ins will give your followers an opportunity to share their concerns. By listening, you can demonstrate that you care about your followers and empathize with what they are going through. Followers can experience many emotions during change, including fear, confusion, and stress, and they deserve to be met with respect. Followers require connection and effective communication with their leader to be able to adapt to the change around them.
When it comes to change, it is important as a leader to involve your followers. If a leader allows for their followers to participate in the change-making process, they will be more inclined to accept the changes that are being made. This involvement will make followers feel like their opinion is valued and will allow for more personalized initiatives moving forwards with things. With this, involving more people in change does increase the time that decisions are made. This requires leaders to hear many different opinions and can leave a leader with a lot of different feedback, which could be tricky knowing everyone's thoughts. A good leader will be able to give the team confidence through change and provide them with a vision to look to, even if there are some issues with the new changes that are being made.
Hi, it's Emily again. Thank you guys so much for paying attention and listening. Before we end our video, we just wanted to talk about 5 kind of key points and steps of how to navigate change. These include expressing the need for change, creating new avenues of adaptation, building connection and communication, involving people in the process of change, and reinforcing momentum. These are 5 kind of easy key points to remember as we go through the process of change. And if you use these points, you will be able to implement the highest amount of success possible for your change while you're leading. Thank you guys. Have a great day.